Hello class, and welcome to ALTX, the series where I interview foreigners living in Japan about life in Japan and get advice for new people coming to live in Japan. So, let's get started. Today, we have a very special interview with Matthew Rowe. Matthew and I have been friends for nearly 10 years, and we actually came to Japan together. Matt was the first person I interviewed for this series for ALTX, but unfortunately our audio and video got corrupted, so I had to do the first ALTX by myself. So I'm very happy to have Matt back on this channel, and please be sure to go check out his own channel after this video. So without any further ado, please enjoy Matt's video. Hello, and my name is Austin. Now I know what you're thinking, my name isn't Matthew. I don't have glasses, and I don't have a British accent.
Hello, Governor.
But the reason I'm here is to ask some interview questions to Matt. The interview question I have for Matt is just to talk about his experiences as a foreigner in Japan.
It's not really a question. Well, I've been in Japan for over 7 years now. It is actually kind of hard to recall how I felt when I first came here in a way, because I remember having the frequent feeling of, oh my god, I'm in Japan. But other than that, you adjust to it pretty quickly. It's like the first year of me being here, I think, is packed with information of all these new experiences. And then kind of the subsequent years, they kind of blur a bit more because you get used to it and just get on with your life. Especially good experiences. I was living in Sendai, but I hate the summer heat. So I decided to go up to Sapporo in Hokkaido to kind of enjoy summer there. So I travelled up on the train and I was just by myself, stayed in a hostel and just went around the city for several days, for weeks, and I was lucky because there just happened to be some festivals on at the time. There was a beer festival, so the centre of Sapporo, I don't know if you know, but it's just like a long series of parks called Odori Park. It's like each block is a different park. And then each block was a different beer garden during this festival. I met some university students, some boys who were happy to have me join them for drinking and talking, and they wanted to show off and use English and stuff like that. But the funny part was they also wanted to use me to kind of get to talk to the girls. They were like, oh, if you come and join us, then these girls will come and talk to us to talk to you, blah blah blah. So that was quite funny, and I was just laughing at them trying to do that. But kind of during the daytime, I was just kind of passing through, and I had lunch in one of the beer gardens and just a bit of a drink. This older couple, must have been in their late 50s maybe, and they had a daughter who was 20 something. They invited me over to their table and were like, oh, come and sit with us, come and sit with us. So I was sat chatting to them for lunch, and they were very kind to me. They gave me lots of advice, and they were just talking like we were old friends kind of thing. They were really interested in where I was from and what I was doing. And then they offered to have their daughter show me around Sapporo the next day. So we went on kind of a date, going around some famous spots in Sapporo, which was quite nice, and we enjoyed that. And that was just something completely unplanned, spontaneous that I just wandered into. But it just goes to show how open and warm lots of Japanese people can be. The only way I would say I've experienced racism in Japan is kind of through the bureaucracy. Like one time I wanted to get an iPad with a mobile connection, but I kept applying and do all the information, and each time it would take like over an hour of sitting in the office and filling in these forms and speaking to the guy and applying for it, and then they had to call up the credit company and check that and blah blah blah. But the result would always come back that they wouldn't allow me to have it. But then I did it again, and I was sat in the waiting area with this older Japanese guy, kind of a bit scruffy looking, looked almost homeless, and he was doing his own knitting as far as I remember. But I got talking to him, he was asking me what was wrong, so he offered to kind of help me, and he spoke to the assistant guy and he asked him why I couldn't get this contract for the iPad. And eventually the assistant gave in and told him it was because I already had a mobile phone. They wouldn't allow me to have 2 mobile connections. At least if I know what's wrong, I can solve the problem. But the Japanese don't often see that. They would just rather ignore the problem because ignoring it is easier and doesn't upset people initially. TEPCO. Another incident was I ended up paying a lot of interest on tax because I didn't understand that I had to stop my tax in the other city when I moved. So I was getting tax from 2 places, none of them were talking to each other because the tax looks exactly the same as the health insurance payment slips. So there was one point where I didn't pay the tax at all because I thought it was just another copy of the health insurance and I didn't want to pay the health insurance twice. If you're a new person, what would I recommend? Whatever your job or whatever, make sure you stay in contact with at least a couple of people that you can ask questions about these kind of things. Most jobs will have them. Most jobs will have people that you might not necessarily like, but they're in a position to answer these questions, and that's okay. Use them. You need to find as much information as you can when you first get here, and that'll equip you for the rest of your life in Japan. Points I found difficult, and lots of people find difficult, is getting your own apartment. If you come on an ALT job especially, you'll probably have accommodation sorted for you, but it will be contracted with your company. But if you want to get away from your job or change jobs or change the apartment that your job have given you, which is something I wanted to do, I had this very nice apartment, but it was like an hour and a half away from my workplace. So I wanted to change, and I ended up separately doing some language exchanges, and I met someone who was also looking for apartments. So they were willing to help me search and to help me sort out guarantor, and we ended up contracting a place together, but I lived there and then she moved out into university accommodation. So we never actually lived together, but it was in her name. Home centers and Hakuen store. When you first come to Japan, you don't have a lot of money. Your apartment probably only has basic things like a sink. Home centers are awesome. There's lots of them around, especially on the outskirts of cities, and you can buy everything from there, and a lot of them will do delivery for a very cheap price, especially if you buy a lot. So you can go to them. You can build up your collection of furniture, from the very simple little floor cushions up to big sofas and wardrobes and things like that. And Hakuen store will have everything else. All the little kitchen utensils, all the little gadgets and toys and little tiny things you need around the house that no one really thinks about until you need them. Austin also wanted me to talk about the wedding. We didn't have the wedding ceremony, which is why we didn't invite people. We just got registered at the city hall. You literally just go to the town hall, and there's a special little section for weddings and divorces and things like that. And you go and sit down, you speak to the people, and you fill in the forms. You need a license, not license, but a document from your government, your embassy, saying that you're not married in your home country. And you're married. Straight away, you can do it in like half an hour, depending on the waiting time. But it's dead simple and it's unceremonious, but it's straightforward. So I still owe my wife a wedding, and having the baby is pretty much the same thing as far as registering it goes. Because the problem with our situation is that I'm from England and my wife is from China, and we're living in Japan. So there's very little information about what to do if you were both foreigners, not from your own country. Most of it is about foreigners marrying a Japanese. So we thought that you had to go to your embassy and register the marriage with a marriage certificate, which we tried to do, but apparently you don't need to do that. An official translation as well can be from anyone. It doesn't have to be a professional translation company, as long as they have some kind of qualification, like teacher, so some kind of respected qualifications. We touched upon quite a lot, and maybe it's a bit too general, I don't know. If you have any other questions or comments about what I've been talking about, I'll be glad to expand upon them in replies, or maybe if there's enough, I'll do another video. Thank you, Austin. That'll be back.
Alright class, that is all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos in the future, please hit that subscribe button. And please, of course, go say hi to Matt over on his channel. He makes some great content and is very creative and a great writer. So please go check out his channel and say hi from ALTX. Alright, that's all for today. Bye!